Hey, what's going on, guys? It's xJawz, and today I have a domination game on Favela. This is a ground war game, and I joined late, and usually that's a bad thing because I'd say 9 out of 10 games that I join late, it's a team that is losing, like I'm on the team that's losing. And the reason why you're obviously going to run into that more is people tend to leave games that they're losing more than people tend to leave games that they're winning. Just in general, it's like the entire concept of rage quit simplified. So basically, thought I'd talk about that for a little bit. Blame Truth, most notably, I'd say, had been talking about, the matchmaking process and how he doesn't like to be put in games that are in progress where his team is losing significantly. And it was brought up that, maybe Treyarch should add in an option in Black Ops where you can choose whether or not to join a game in progress. Now, this does, at its core, it sounds like a great idea. It sounds like, oh, you know what, you don't have to join games in progress where your team is losing. Now, the problem with this is I think that if Treyarch put this option into the game, they couldn't tell you which team was winning or losing, and they couldn't tell you which team, or by how much, if they did tell you which team was losing or winning. The reason being is because they want people to join games in progress, so they would just simply probably ask the button or make it a matchmaking option of whether or not you should, or whether or not you want to join games in progress. So I would say that 90% of players would say no, and a couple players, maybe like 10% of players, would be noble and be like, alright, you know what, I'm going to try and help my team. If, a team is losing, I don't want to be a dick and just not help them out. That right there, I think, was a 7-1 multi-kill. I'm not 100% sure, but that was like plus 350 in Domination, so it might have been. I'm not sure. Anyway, back to what I was saying. A lot of players probably won't join games in session, which is why it's a problem to add in that option. And what happens is, and you might not notice this, but a ton of players actually, leave games in progress. I'd say that, a 9 versus 9 game, if they didn't allow joining session in progress, might end up being like a 5 versus 5 game. And not even that. Like, that is best case scenario, is that you're going to end up with an even game. A lot of times, you're going to end up with games where one team is going to be leaving the game much more often than the other team. You might end up with, it might start out as a 9 versus 9 domination ground war game like this one, but it might end up to be like an 8 versus 4 game, because only one guy maybe like one guy on the winning team had dinner, so he had to leave, but the other, the 5 guys on the other team who left or whatever, those guys were losing and they were just getting upset. So that you're going to run into that problem a lot. And the 4 or 5 guys who decide to stay in the game when they're losing, they're going to be fucked. They really are. They're going to be against this team that was already beating them when it was 9 versus 9, and now they're crushing them when they have like double the amount of players. And not only is that going to be bad in itself, but that's going to cause those 4 guys who didn't want to leave originally to leave. The game's only going to get more and more lopsided. So, I've been thinking about it, and I'm not smart enough to think of something, or just I haven't thought of an appropriate way to handle this. But I want to ask you guys, leave me a comment and let me know, what do you think is an appropriate punishment for leaving a game in progress? Now, your punishment can be, for leaving a game in progress. Your punishment can be, instead of, don't tell me they get a loss. Don't tell me they get 10 losses, because I just don't think people care enough about their win-loss ratio to stop them from leaving a game, or about their match bonus for that matter. So your punishment might be, they have X punishment for, leaving 5 games in a row, or, 10 games in a day, or just 1 game. But whatever. Tell me what you think, an appropriate response to leaving games would be. Also wanted to talk about control freaks. Now, if you don't know what control freaks are, basically these are these things. They're basically analog sticks that you put on top of your analog sticks. They're little extensions that you put on your controller, and what they're supposed to do is give you better aim on your controller. Now, these work for both PS3 and Xbox, and I ordered them because most commentators, I would say, have these things, and I've heard a lot of people talk about them in high regard. And so I decided to go out and get them, or order them online, and they're only like $10 after you use a coupon code that like CNanners gave out, or Woody's Gamertag gave out. They all did reviews on them, and you probably saw these. You may or may not have bought them. Now, my review on them, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not getting any money from them. I want to be honest with you guys about it. Obviously, you're going to know I'm being honest with you guys, because I don't have an outstanding review to give you guys. But I was recording a live commentary yesterday, and by the way, you guys have been really liking them and giving me great feedback on the live commentaries. I appreciate it so much. I'll keep doing them as long as you guys keep liking them. So anyway, my dad comes in the room while I'm in the lobby, and I'm just recording, you know, into the microphone, and I'm like, oh, Control Freak's got here. I know what this is. So I rip them open. I quick put them on my controller, real simple, and I start playing the game. Not doing so great. I had like a 2.0 kill death ratio, something like that. I was dying fairly often, and they were fairly uncomfortable, and that is to be expected whenever you kind of change something up. It's like you have to get used to them. Obviously, I knew that. Don't tell me that, you know, I just need to get used to them, because the problem actually is deep-seated, or it's more, you know, deep-seated than that. What I've noticed with them, and I think one of the main problems, is that most of the commentators who I've talked to who have them are adults who are at least 20 years old. And basically, I'm 16, and I have average 16-year-old hands. I'm not like, I don't have monstrous hands, I don't have small hands, and the Control Freaks are just, they get in my way on my right analog stick. Now, you really only need them on your right analog stick because that's what you're going to be using for aiming. You don't need precision running, but when they're on your right analog stick, it's going to get in the way of moving your right thumb to your A, B, X, or Y buttons, and you're pressing those buttons all the time in a game, so that can be an issue. And I think that before you buy them, you should consider your hand size and your age, and that's just me being honest with you guys. I don't know if I'm going to use them. I might give them a second chance, but I don't know. Final score, 69 kills and 1 death, a 69 kill death ratio. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. See y'all later.